Professor Manoj Jha now. He is a member of Parliament of the RJD. Professor Jha, you had a meeting with the Election Commission and there were members of other India bloc parties as well. Of course, this had to do with the entire exercise which is happening. From where is the India bloc, sir, coming to that number of 2 crore voters in Bihar who could be disenfranchised? I mean, this number, how are you arriving at that number?
Let me, Maria, first share with you the background of yesterday's meeting and what transpired in the meeting. How would I describe the meeting? 3 things combined together. We, all the India bloc members, had gone to share our collective concern about potential disenfranchisement in Bihar. Now, having said that, I came out and also said, addressing the press, that I wish this meeting was cordial. I had no reason to call it a very cordial meeting, because there is a difference between hearing you out and listening to you. What we found, all of us found, that the commission heard us out, did not listen to us. And anybody knows the difference between hearing and listening would concur with what I am saying. The figure around approximately 2 crores. I mean, if you look at the timeline of Election Commission announcement on 24th June and announcement of the fact that the exercise would start from 25th of June, and then subsequent 4 or 5 different press releases clarifying, justifying, all because of the fact that it was not done after due diligence and consultation with the stakeholders. Now, roughly 3 crore people, the Election Commission is saying that they have to prove. First, the first important natural law point is that the onus has been shifted from state to individual. And I gave us a kind of analogy to the Chief Election Commissioner that in my university I tell some student that your work is full of plagiarism. And he says, or she says, no, sir, it is not. So I ask him or her to prove, rather than before making that charge, I should have had the evidence in my hand. So that's the basic premise we approached. We didn't get to know. Now, at one point, Chief Election Commissioner himself said that 20%, roughly 20% people from Bihar, they live in different other cities as migrant population. And that proved our suspicion, our fear true, that the brunt shall be borne by people who live in Surat, who live in, say, Baroda or Hoshiarpur or Mumbai, in different parts of Maharashtra. And despite the fact that live in these cities, they come to Bihar on festivals, and particularly during the festival of democracy, that is voting, whether it is assembly election or the parliamentary election. Now, this entire population roughly would be subjected to a rigorous exercise of finding one document out of 11. They won't accept Aadhaar, they won't accept ration card, they won't accept EPIC card, they won't accept Manrega job card, and so on and so forth. So if you look at the numbers, and also in view of the fact that all different parameters, Bihar ranks quite low. How many of us, except people coming from a particular particular class background, it's very difficult to collect, contain all the documents at a safe place, particularly when the floods are almost there in different districts of Bihar. In view of it, if you look at, and there have been very good writings by different people, including some of those important points which Tejaswi ji raised, I submitted that in the form of a letter addressed to the Election Commission. The numbers would not be less than 2 crore. The people who shall be put in a doubtful category and everything. Why only from Bihar? This exercise could have been taken immediately after the Lok Sabha election. You did not. 22 years ago was the last exercise. Why this was not done? I asked this question why this was not done in 22 years. What kind of position paper or approach paper you developed? If you develop the position paper and approach paper, please bring it in the public domain. And that approach paper or position paper should clarify at what level the consultation took place. And finally, my closing argument in this section, Maria, when this gentleman took over as Chief Election Commissioner, he had announced with applaud from all the quarters that he'll not do anything without consulting political parties. There was no consultation at all. And even yesterday, the approach was not of consultation. What I said through my opening remarks with you, that he failed to distinguish between hearing and listening. That is the root of the problem, and that makes us worry, not only as political party, but as somebody about democracy, which is actually to protect the most sacrosanct of the right, and that is right to vote.
All right. Professor Jha, you've made a couple of points, and I would like you to elaborate on that. So what justification did the Election Commission give when the India bloc said that why is Aadhaar card not an acceptable, or a ration card not an acceptable form of an ID? Bihar, of course, has a very huge migrant population. Who is going to make arrangement for their travel, so that they can, or the logistical challenges that they'll face because they have to go for first scrutiny and then to cast their votes?
Maria, let me tell you, if they become doubtful, they lose voting rights. Where is the possibility of discussing the mode of conveyance or mode of transport? First, you have to respect that these migrations are fundamentally different, which are from Bihar and compared to migration from other states. I gave them my example that I came here to study with bare minimum. And for many years, I continued to be a voter in Bihar and refused to be a voter in Delhi. During elections, I'll go back to Bihar. Similar is the case, but if you put them in a doubtful category, if you just give them 25 days of time, then to draft, verification, and all kinds of certification, you are actually not making it a mechanism of inclusion, but a mechanism of exclusion. Number one. Number two, we must also understand that so far, Election Commission has failed to convince us or convince themselves why Aadhaar won't be accepted and why different other government's own scheme-based certificate or testimonial shall not be accepted. The day I get it from the Election Commission, the same day I'll reach out to you and share.
Okay, but sir, why, when you say the Election Commission did not take political parties on board, why didn't they do that? Was there an answer in that meeting?
Shock and surprise, combination of both. And I'll tell you, there is a precedence. His predecessor, Rajiv Ji, where he was toying with the idea of remote voting. There was a huge meeting. All political parties, including BJP, all opposition, we had our argument. I personally remember I had provided them that what are the pitfalls of it. And I'm thankful that it was solved. It was possible after the consultation. In this case, there was no consultation at all. And I repeat what I said, apart from 20% of the migrant population, which I think is on the radar of exclusion or the verge of getting excluded, a large number of them. What worries me, that people who generally struggle with these kind of certificates are the subaltern classes and communities, Dalits, minorities, Muslims in particular, backward castes, they'll have to struggle. And if you want a kind of elite coup against the subaltern, I see that kind of design. It's a proposed, planned elite coup against the subaltern castes and communities.
All right, Professor Manoj Jha, thank you for joining us here on NDTV.